What's up, guys? Welcome to a special Racing Dudes Kentucky Derby update. Jared is joining me here today, and I'm going to get in trouble. I did not play the fantasy intro music that Magic created, Jared.
yeah, it's a good thing he's not here. I kind of wondered when I heard this. I thought, oh, okay, we're just playing the regular one here. So yeah, he's super pissed that he's like, I do all this work and he's not using it.
I literally just got a text as you were talking saying, didn't want to use the fantasy intro.
I forgot. He's pissed.
He is pissed. There is an outro for the show. I will use that. I promise, Magic.
What is it? Is it the fantasy league intro one?
Yes. Should I play it now for the people?
Yeah, do it.
Okay, here we go.
16th to go. It's Pletcher in the Derby again. It's known agenda. You rock your world to take them all the way in the Run Happy Santa Anita Derby.
Essential quality. What a finish. The champ. It is Dynamic 1 and Vermonic. Dynamic 1 and Vermonic. A photo finish. Vermonic got there.
There we go. That's better. That is pretty good. I like that. Do you like that?
Yeah, I mean, I especially love the drums. You know, I was really just getting after it over here. So yeah, I mean, was that Magic? Do you know any idea if that was Magic doing his own recording there of the drums?
Yes, it was Magic doing his own recording, and he also impersonated all the track announcers. That was actually Magic. All right, we got Mike Salmon joining us too. Better late than never, Mike. How are we this morning?
I'm good, man. Have we lost the shake yet, or has it not started?
No. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Let's get the shake out of the way. We're going to have a five-way shake.
Who are the 5 teams?
Okay, yeah, well, Samich, if you let me do my job, I was going to read those teams off.
You're wearing a Danhausen shirt. I just don't have much faith in you now.
All right, so we have a five-team shake for Charge It. All right, the 5 teams are Paul, myself, Real Dynasty, Magic Mike Show, and Jared. So that's the 5 teams involved in the shake. They're all going to get numbers 1 through 5. As you see on the screen, I've got the random generator up. So they'll be just like that. Paul will be 1, I will be 2, Real Dynasty 3, Magic Mike Show 4, and Jared will be 5. So I'll hit the random generator here in just a second. We're just going to do it once. First one that pops up, that's who gets it. So we'll do this. We'll get it out of the way, and then we'll talk about this horse and a few of the other ones on the Derby Trail. All right, you guys ready?
With your very evil shirt, I don't have any faith that you're not going to draw your own self here. So I'm just like, I feel like this might be a screenshot on your computer that you're just showing, and you're going to update it here in a second. To what number are you?
Yeah, he's number 2. Can we ask why are there only 5 claims for this horse?
I have no we are in a league that's not very good. Is what I've learned.
That's what Halter and I were talking about before we went on live here. We're like, why is there only 5 teams? Like,
if you have 5 horses better than this, I mean, just good on you. But like, really?
Well, we'll talk about him after, but I'm not sure there might not be 5 horses better, period.
well, the thing is, like, between now and April, let's say, what better horse are you going to get that's going to pop up that at least going to give you a shot to win a prep? You know what I mean? Like, I've been waiting patiently. I think we all have for like that one horse to kind of come up and then like, okay, that's the one that I need to go after. I don't know. I mean, the fact that I'm conflicted. The fact that Magic might put a claim in makes me think less of this horse. And then also the fact that John and Ryan didn't I'm confused.
Well, that's ironic because we're the best claiming group of any group the last 2 years, to be clear.
Thank goodness John and Ryan didn't put a claim in because now you have a shot.
Yeah, well, that's true too. I mean, we're
that's
also over in stakes.
That's the one that surprised me. Like, why would John and Ryan not put a claim in? I mean, I don't know. All right, let's do it. Then we'll talk about this horse. Okay. Again, you may have forgotten. Paul is 1, I am 2, Real Dynasty 3, Magic Mike 4, Jared 5. All right, I'm going to hit the button, guys. Here we go. 1. 1 is the number. That is Paul. So Paul now will be minus 40 because he's earned no points and he's claimed 1 horse. Now he's claimed another one. So Paul now at minus 40, he claims Charge It. He drops In Dreams, and that's a pretty good drop. He's pretty bad. So Paul gets the horse. All right.
Hit the generate.
Yeah,
just generate again.
I don't believe this was a fair shake here.
Okay.
All right, fine.
There was a 1 again.
What?
I guess Paul's just going to keep claiming Pletcher horses till he gets one right.
I guess so. I think he's got a good one here, guys. I'm very disappointed I didn't get this horse. I think this horse is the real deal. We were on live. Well, I'll kick it Simon first. Talk about this horse a little bit. So I think this guy is really, really good.
Yeah, it looked like a beast. Volcanic came back and ran well in the Sam F. Davis, which just flatters that original race where he ran second to Volcanic. He looked like he was in control the entire time in this race. There wasn't a ton of speed in the maiden breaking score, but the way that he did it and the way that he demolished that field and just looked under control was amazing. And then just visually, I mean, you saw the horse in the paddock, and this horse looked like a monster. It just looks the part. Tap it with distance on the bottom. I mean, the breeding fits for the Derby here. It's a Pletcher horse that we're getting to see that he didn't get overly aggressive with, but clearly likes quite a bit. To me, this is now a clear 1B to Emmanuel's 1A in the Pletcher barn, and those are his two Derby horses, and we'll see what happens from there. But I would happily take the 1B Pletcher horse on my team at each point in the Derby Trail.
Absolutely, and that's a great segue to Jared, who owns 1A, as you just called him, and I agree with that sentiment a little bit. Emmanuel, Jared, you own him. What do you think, Emmanuel versus Charge It? I mean, they look pretty similar to me. Do you still think you have that 1A horse out of the Pletcher barn?
I mean, that's I get. I think I do, but I think it could go either way. I mean, really, you see how I feel like I kind of feel like Charge It might be the Belmont winner. I don't know. I think because he's a little late. I think he'll still make the Derby. I mean, he's got time for that. But he's a Tappet. I think he's going to continue to kind of get better. He feels like a Belmont horse. But I do think it could go either way. Really, that's why I wanted him, because I was like, hey, I got both. Not just that, I've got the whole Tappet or the whole Tap squad. Command Performance, Wit on the back end. It's like next week I was going to claim another Pletcher and make it 5. So he's loaded, and so yeah, of course I wanted his two best horses because I feel like they're both probably going to get in the. I mean, they're both heading to at least 2 more each preps from here on out.
Yeah, I think it's funny if Emmanuel's the 1A and Charge It is the 1B. What's Command Performance? Is he like 12? And
Command Performance is it's her 12C, and I believe Wit is about 38F.
I think, I was gonna say he's 27Z is what I
yeah. Hey, Wit, man, he's still in the gate. He just hasn't left the gate yet.
Yeah. I like horses that we don't know yet they're bad. So I have them on my team still, just kind of. I'm like, they might be good.
Well, hopefully Wit comes back and runs well. It sounds like they're not really pointing anywhere towards the Derby with this horse. So
I think it's going to be awfully interesting how we see these horses managed now with Emmanuel and with Charge It, because the two of them, we've now seen Emmanuel win at Tampa. Does he go to Tampa? Does Charge It stay on the Florida circuit? Are there horses you're trying to avoid here? We see Smile Happy, who is in Louisiana. We don't know where Smile Happy is going to go after that. I mean, you've got White Abario, who looked really good in Florida. You've got Classic Causeway, who looked really good at Tampa. Obviously, you need to get points for both of these horses. It's going to be interesting to see how Pletcher decides to handle these two and where they each go.
I've got to think another great kind of segue as we transition to some of the other horses.
That's what I'm here for.
I've got to think. Oh yeah, I got to think Oaklawn is like the big red flashing sign. The locals at Oaklawn are so bad this year. I got to think he's targeting that circuit.
Well, isn't Messier rumored to go to Oaklawn though?
Well, and then so if that happens, then there's a problem, obviously.
And then Newgrange going back to California based on how he handled that track.
If they send Newgrange back, they clearly don't care about him because he won the race, but he was all over the place on that track. Yeah,
kind of makes you wonder what like you say with Messier, what's he gonna do? He really doesn't have. I mean, Newgrange, he sucks though. Really, I mean, I feel like he's very beatable, and that's it. Like the West Coast side, you're not fearful of anything really, other than Messier. I don't know, like. Say what you want. I mean, he's not good. They're not good, but like both Command Performance, when he's working out, they're both Wit and him are working out. So they're both going to go to stakes, I imagine. At least Command Performance for sure will. Oh, dude, he will run the prep. I'm not saying he's going to win. They had him in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. That horse. Oh, look. Hey, there you go. Look at this. Man, performance
there's-
41-1. You might as well lock that in, man.
There's been a lot of command performance love too. He got, like, I know people were betting him 90-1 in the 2-year-old season, 60-1 in the 2-year-old season in Vegas, and like there has been quite a bit of command performance love. It's one of those horses that it's just kind of interesting. And obviously, as Magic mentioned, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, it's like the anti-Kentucky Jockey Clubs of this year, and that's the last time we saw command performance. And he didn't exactly have a commanding performance in that outing either.
Yeah, who would have thought, right? Yeah, last year you got the two horses, Essential Quality and Hot Rod in that race, and came back, and that was a very strong race. Obviously, not so much this year.
I really like you, HHH Racing Podcast, Triple H. But I wouldn't bet command performance at 241-1. I've never liked him though. That's if people are on even the Breeders' Cup. I was like, no, I don't like. I've never liked him, so that might be a me problem. But I don't like that horse at all.
I think you're on the right. I think you're probably on the right side of that.
I don't know what he's done. He ran behind Jack Christopher once.
Well, he hasn't done anything because he hasn't won.
That's the issue, right? He's still
he hasn't done anything because he hasn't won a race.
The argument he's going to come back in a stakes race. Well, it's the stakes or is it a maiden? Because it could be either. We don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
See, honestly, I would put him in a maiden and get a win, and then take a one shot at a prep. To me, that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
It feels like he's a horse that could win at Keeneland right before the Derby, or get points at Keeneland last prep before the Derby and get in because of how many points Bob Baffert is going to steal from people down the stretch if these horses aren't able to enter the Derby gate. I mean, 5 points might make it this year if Baffert takes as many as he has the opportunity to.
I have a theory on Baffert. I'm going to end the show with it though. Ryan Stillman and I have planned out exactly what's going to happen, and we've figured it out. But saving it for the end so we keep the viewers locked in the whole show.
Yeah, all they care about.
What's amazing about the point situation is we'll end it with no more command performance talk after this. Is he's in the Derby right now?
Yeah,
he's in the Derby right now. He's 17th. I mean, that just shows you how low these point totals are right now. And we're in February where the 50-point races start this weekend when the Risen Star. And he's going to continue to get pushed down, but the horse has been MIA since early November, and he's 17th on the list.
It's crazy, and it's like that. Just like Samich says, Baffert's won like 6 preps and got no points for it. And in some of those preps, he's gotten second, and gotten the second place points. And I don't see that trend changing. So.
No, I mean, if he runs Arkansas, he runs California, he sends some horses up for the New York preps, and he wins at Sunland, all of a sudden it's just Florida that you're getting points out of. Everywhere else, there's no winning points. It's if he takes those away. And even if he runs second or third in 100-point races or 50-point races, that eliminates someone from the Derby. That will most likely be enough points to qualify, and he's just going to rip them all out of there.
Yep, absolutely correct. All right, let's move on to this weekend because it's a huge weekend. We got Smile Happy coming out. Tish asks the question here. What do you think fair odds on Smile Happy will be this weekend? I think we're widely speculating this horse is going to be bet down pretty hard after the Kentucky Jockey Club 2nd, 4th, and 7th place finishers have all come back to win preps. Jared, thoughts on Smile Happy? Thoughts on what odds he'll be?
Okay, so I'm going to need you guys to kind of help me through this because, all signs point to this horse being a monster, but do you have faith that McPeak can get this horse to? I mean, this is easily the toughest prep we've seen this year. This is a loaded race. The fairground circuit is proving to be good, really good yet again. I mean, Epicenter lost last time out, yes, but that horse is really good. There's a lot of horses in here that that Zandon horse for Chad Brown. A lot of people are very high on. I mean, Slow Down Andy shows up here. I feel like he's a play against here. I just can't decide who I'm playing. I think Epicenter is the horse I'm going to lean on. I think he might bounce back, but Smile Happy is going to be bet way too low for me to touch. It just can't.
Well, I think that's a good segue into fair odds versus off odds. I mean, off odds. Well, let's look at it this way. Classic Causeway went off at 8-5 against a worse field, ran second in that race, and the horse that you just said you might take lost to the 8th place finisher out of the Jockey Club that Smile Happy won. So off odds 6-5, between 4-5 and 6-5, right? I think that's what the off odds are. Fair odds probably 8-5, 9-5 in my mind. I think he should be the favorite. And I'm not sold on how strong this prep is. Like, yeah, I get it. Zandon's in there. Yeah, I get it. Slowdown Andy's in there. Epicenter obviously in there again. Papa Cap's in there. But okay, Papa Cap, I'm no longer afraid of off that last Louisiana race. He tripped out and couldn't even get by Epicenter, who was pressured the whole way. And the other issue I see is like, man, there's a lot of speed in there. So it kind of sets up perfectly for Smile Happy to get the exact same trip he got in the Kentucky Jockey Club. I hope Smile Happy wins. I hope Smile Happy wins the next race. And then we get like a sub 2-1 McPeak Lannery horse in the Derby to bet against. That's what I'm rooting for.
Well, I'll say this. I think the strength of this race and how it ultimately plays out all centers around the number 7 horse I have ranked on the list right here on your screen, Slow Down Andy. Was it a fluke or is he really good? That's the big question mark, because if he comes into the Risen Star, if he's really good, then I think it strengthens that race. I'm with you. Like, I think Epicenter's nice. I don't think he's like overly great. I think he's nice. But Slow Down Andy beat Messier at Los Al. It was at Los Al, though. It's weird things happen there. But if he is the real deal and he comes back and runs good again, think of it like this. The last race he kind of sat off. Him and Smile Happy will kind of be sitting right together, kind of off the pace. Epicenter turns for the lead or turns for home with the lead, and those two are coming. I mean, that would be great if Slow Down Andy's firing like that too. So I think it all hinges on him. Jared, what are your thoughts on Slow Down Andy? Is he a fluke or is he good?
Well, I'll tell you Saturday after the race. I don't know. I mean, no, I lean towards fluke because you just don't see that happening the way he won that race. And Messier obviously came back to run the most impressive race we've seen this year so far. So it's like, he's obviously very good. I mean, rebreak Messier and rebreak, Andy found ways to battle it out in that race. And Slow Down Andy was, I don't know, like, to me, I've leaned towards playing against, but what do you think, Samich, what do you think he's going to go off at?
Well, that's the big problem. I mean, like, so Messi is 0 for 2 over Los Al, 3 for 3 everywhere else. That was the first time Slow Down Andy went 2 turns. Like, there's a bunch of different things around this where we don't know what created that effort from Slow Down Andy. And so it's just really hard to get behind this horse at the price I think it's going to go off at. The fact that Messier is second behind Slow Down Andy last race means this is going to be your second favorite in this race. I think you're going to get third or fourth choice on Epicenter, which is crazy, considering Epicenter ran second last time out over this track and ran a damn good race doing it. But I believe he is going to be probably your third choice here, because Slow Down Andy is going to take a ton of money. People are comparing this horse to Hot Rod Charlie. I'm guilty of that. I mentioned it. California coming over to Louisiana. He just beat Messier. The connections are good. I mean, this horse is going to take a ton of money. I bet you're getting 3-1, 5-2, somewhere around there on race day, and that's too short for me.
Probably right. I think you're right. I think people are going to be a little scared of that Slow Down Andy situation with Los Al, how Messier came back. And again, like you said, Doug O'Neill, came over here and won this race last year with Hot Rod Charlie. It makes sense that he brings this horse here, and we see it again. A couple of other comments here. I just never trust Corey Landry in the big spots. And the JL says, are we certain Landry will hold on to that mount beyond this week? I think, Samich, and you can say if you agree or disagree, but I think that's why you want him to win. Because as long as he wins, he's going to hold on to that mount, right?
I think it gets more and more difficult every race to take him off, right? If he continues to win. And that's one of the reasons. Like, look, I'm not a huge Kenny McPeek's a fine trainer. I can't figure him out, but I don't trust him when he's a favorite. I would much rather play Kenny McPeek when he's 15-1, 20-1 than when he is 6-5. And as the waters get deeper, especially with a horse that's going to have to come from off the pace in the Derby, Corey Landry, who loves the rail, look, the rail is great until it's the rail at the Derby and there's 20 horses and you got to weave your way through. Like, it just, to me, I hope that he continues to keep this mount. I think he does as long as he wins. I think that's the key here. If he gives this horse a bad ride at some point, he will be off faster than you can snap. But until then, I think he keeps the mount.
He'll dig up Robbie Alvarado and put him on like he did with Swiss Skydiver in the Preakness.
That worked, didn't it?
Yeah. Robbie Alvarado on. It works every single time. By the way, she was a big price in the Preakness. Just saying. Jared, you're immersed with the Pletcher barn, so I want to throw this comment to you. Ashley Gordon chimes in and says, I watched the Holy Bull again, talking about Mo Donegal will be heard from, absolutely flying late. like I said, you know a lot about the Pletcher Barn. You've got inside connections before. I think that every employee in the Pletcher Barn, Jared, knows. What do you think they think of this horse?
Yeah, I've got them all on the payroll right now, so they're telling me they pretty much just tell me what I want to hear. I think at this point. So no, I mean, I think they like Mo Donegal, but I don't necessarily. I'm not getting any kind of vibe that they like. They think this is like he's far below Emmanuel in the barn, and as well as Charge It now too. So I think he's one of those horses. I think you got to be careful with that one because I just think he's going to show little signs here and there that it looks like he's, go longer, he'll get better. And, they get trouble trip and the better trip, it's just like, I just feel like he's that horse, right? That he's just kind of always have an excuse behind him. I think he's like an also ran, I really do. I think he's a good horse. I think he's probably going to win some stakes at some point. Get the right trip and whatever, but I don't see it. He's not, to me, he's not, I have no fear in him in like a Derby. Plus, you got to think like he's not the kind of horse that wins a Derby. He doesn't have the style. He's going to be coming late. He's going to make a huge run. He'll be up, he'll be like 5th or 6th or something, and everyone will say, Belmont, that's the Belmont horse. It's just, I'll pass on. I'm not a big fan of Mo Donegal.
It reminds you a lot of Known Agenda last year, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
It does a lot. And to your point, everyone said the exact same things about that horse.
Yep.
That we're saying right now. Like, it was always an excuse. There's always something that this would make have this happen, and then this would happen, and now he'll win. It's just like you don't want to go into the Derby with like a list of things that you need to go right to win. So I think he's a good horse. I don't want to come across like I think he's obviously a very serviceable horse. So I think he's going to continue to rack up points on the, finishing 3rd and 2nd. And, like I say, he could win one of these smaller preps or whatever. Guy like in the right trip or a shitty field or something. But when it comes Derby day, I just don't see him. To me, I hope he wins one of these preps because I would love to love to have him take money off of Emmanuel.
He just seems like he needs to trip out, that everything needs to go right. And the best horse in the race probably needs to run their B+ to A- effort. And he needs to bring his A+ to be able to get it done against some of these top contenders. Like that.
Yeah. Ashley, they're all shitting over your horse here, but I'm going to tell you, here's the deal with him. They're right. He's like a circumstantial type of horse. He has to have everything. He has to have the setup. The Holy Bull, he was never in a billion years going to win. He's not going to win a 1/16 race at Gulfstream Park. It's not going to happen, period. 1 1/8, Florida Derby, regular length of the stretch in that race. His key, he has to be able to sit closer to the pace than what he has. It's that simple. If you want to bet him in the Derby, that last prep, he has to sit closer. He cannot win the Derby if he's towards the back. It's not going to happen because he's not – He's a good horse with nice acceleration, but he's not agile enough to weave in and out of horses. He's going to have to be able to sit, 5th, 6th in a 20-horse field Derby. He can't be 15th. It's just it's not going to happen. He's going to run up late and break your heart. And Jared said it. He's going to be that horse that finishes 3rd, 4th, and you're like, damn it! 10 jumps after the wire. He passed every one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And listen, you can use that example for a million years. That was the most unbelievable situation. I'll take the other 95% of the times when a horse needs a lead.
You also got 50 to 1 on that horse, not 5 to 1.
Well, and you can also, that was the biggest fluke of all time. Those 3 races were unbelievable from this horse. You can use it, and hey, if you cash 2% of the time you try to play a horse like that, then I hope you get that 50 to 1 because you're going to need it. And I'm not trying to be mean. That's the facts. That's coming from somebody who's followed this year after year after year after year. It just doesn't happen that often. And I loved buying that bird. I love the story. It just doesn't happen.
It's like the most alternate universe thing that ever happened in racing. Those 3 races. We've talked about that a ton of times. Those 3 races.
It's crazy to go back and watch his Preakness in Belmont too. He was good in both those races. Like
he
his
was.
Preakness was exceptional. And
As I always say, he was a freak, of a lifetime filly away from running for the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
In Belmont, and he got a shitty ride in the Belmont. Like, he would have had a shot to win the damn thing.
He probably should have won. Well, Summer Bird ran great, but it would have been a lot closer. He got a terrible ride. You're right. One thing I'll say though, Ashley, I think Mo Dongo, as the distance get longer, I don't think he's going to be in dead last like Mind That Bird. I think he is a candidate to be able to sit a little closer as the paces slow down and they kind of plod up front. I think they can place him. So that's your hope. Analyze the last prep. If he comes from last, even if he wins, throw him out. If he sits closer and still has that burst, he becomes a player. That's where we're at with him.
So Aaron just picked Mo Donegal in the Belmont, right? Just lock it in now.
No, absolutely not. Because again, those horses don't win the Belmont. People think, oh, these closers will win the Belmont. It's another race. You need to be forwardly placed. And yes, you could say Creator, he's one of about 20 that have done it in the last 20 years. I don't make this up to support any horse. That's what happens in this race. A plotter with speed usually wins.
And Nick is dead on right here too. Since they switched over the points or how you qualify for the Derby, and it's no longer purse money, it's now points. The sprinters really did get knocked out of this. You had a lot of sprinters who would win big purse money races, and they would qualify for the Derby and just juice up the pace and set it up for those mid to late runners. And now you have all these preps where, yeah, a lot of them are won on the lead, but they're not won by sprinters, which completely changes the pace projections for the Derby.
Yeah, absolutely. He's absolutely right. Absolutely right. Ashley says, does Emmanuel not need to improve? Of course, but you've seen him twice. This will be his third career race for Pletcher. That usually is where they run their big race. And if you watched last time out, he got a speed figure that is similar to what we've seen, and he didn't really seem to be asked much. So you're projecting improvement, but no, he's the chances of him running like a 93 buyer or an 89 buyer and winning one of these preps is very small.
Well, they all do. I mean, other than Messier, who put up a 10, whatever he got last time, 103. He's the only horse that doesn't need to improve, technically, because all these horses, dude, I mean, it's February. They all need to improve, but that's what you're kind of banking on, that these horses continue to get better. Charge It needs to improve, like we just had a claim for him. Like that's the whole point. They all have to do, but you're projecting with them getting better. When you look Mo Donegal, you kind of feel like you kind of know because he has ran a few more times than these other like Pletcher horses in this case. You kind of feel like a little more like what he is. Whereas with Mo Donegal or with Emmanuel and Charge It, you don't really know what they are yet.
And that's why you see the same trainers that we all like to have in the league, right? It's trainers that have shown that they can get 3-year-olds to improve over 2 or 3 starts in a single campaign. And that's what we saw from Charge It, who ran, I think it was an 87, 88 buyer first time out, steps forward to a 93 second time out. You'd hope that Pletcher puts up a 95, 96, 97, 98 going into the Derby then, right? And it's that progression that you see from specific trainers. It's one of the reasons why I would say we're all concerned a little about Smile Happy, who clearly looked like he was the best horse at 2. Is McPeak going to be able to move that horse forward here to start the 3-year-old campaign and then do it twice more to be able to win the Derby? Because that's what it's going to take.
Honest to God, like that's the biggest question mark there is in the crop right now. Because if he comes back and looks really good, it's like Samich says, okay, that's off the list. Can he do it again?
Yep.
He did it again. That's off the list. Can he? That's absolutely. If Baffert or Pletcher or somebody had this horse, you might get 3 to 5 on him in the Risen Star. Buyers and connections, that's what gets bet. So he definitely will have the speed figures. It'll just be in the class, obviously, and it'll just be, how hard will they bet these connections on Saturday. It's gonna be a fun race, guys. It's gonna be a really fun race. All right, we end these shows every time. Well, we have only done one this year, but every time last year by asking, who is your current Kentucky Derby pick? All right, Samich, who is your current Kentucky Derby pick?
White Abarrio.
All right, why?
Because it's the best horse that I've seen this stock so far. I mean, I would be shocked if White Abarrio ends up being my Derby pick. But right now, I want a horse who's going to come from just off the pace after what I've seen from horses like Classic Causeway, with what I think a Charge It will be, Emmanuel will be. I think it sets really up really well up for a horse that's coming from right off the pace. If Classic Causeway could rate, I would pick Classic Causeway over White Barrio, but I like the fact I think White Barrio will be sitting in 5th or 6th, right behind a decently contested speed figure, and then be able to go around him in the stretch and get first run.
Yeah, I like that he's versatile for sure. All right, Jared, who's yours?
Yeah, Classic Causeway honestly is close for me to be in my pick because I haven't tapped the brakes. Sam F. Davis, gotta wait and see. You know that will. I don't know. I'm not giving too much stock in that race yet, but if he can rate, he's dangerous. I'm gonna go. Gosh,
it's tough.
This
isn't easy because
I'm gonna go
really
Wit.
Stupid right now.
Can I go Wit?
Yeah, you can.
No, I'm gonna go Emmanuel. I think Emmanuel is to me, the Derby is ran, in a month that he might. I don't know who, he's as good as any of them in this case. Messier can't run, right? At this point. So, I'll go Emmanuel and just hope that he continues to get better.
All right. Hold on to your butts, everybody. I've got the prediction of the lifetime. You guys probably haven't even thought about this. Messier will win the Kentucky Derby. He will run in the Arkansas Derby under D. Wayne Lucas, and he will win the Kentucky Derby under D. Wayne Lucas. Boom. That's my prediction.
Wow. Drinking early this morning, huh?
You think about it, it makes a ton of sense. You keep him with Baffert the whole time. You ship him to Arkansas. The Baffert horses stay in the Lucas barn even when Baffert is the trainer. You change him. You literally change the trainer on draw day. So Lucas is a paper trainer at that point. That's all he is. He gets the horse. He saddles him. He wins the Arkansas Derby by 10. What does the Baffert horses do right after they run at Oaklawn? They go straight to Kentucky. What does Lucas do right after Oaklawn? Straight to Kentucky. Ships there. He gives them a couple maintenance works around Churchill Downs, and they're good to go. I mean, I think that's the plan. When you really think about it, what makes more sense than that? They're great friends. I think that's what they're going to do. I think, the same owners have almost all these Baffert horses. So I think they're waiting. They say, okay, the one that can really win it, what's our plan. And then plan B, we'll run all the rest of them in the Preakness.
So isn't Messier the one who's eligible for the Canadian Triple Crown?
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
So why wouldn't you do that with Doppelganger, or do that with, even, I don't know, what Newgrange or someone like that? Why Messier if he's eligible for other places too?
Well, first of all, the Canadian Triple Crown starts in August. So
you got time then.
Yeah, so it's really not. And the other thing is he can win the race. These other ones, I don't think they can win them. And to me, Baffert has a deepish crop, but I don't think there's any real superstars. This one is a superstar, though. The rest of them, I'm not sure they really want to waste their time switching and doing all this and finishing 10th, unless one of them jumps up, obviously. This one can win. This one has the best speed figure going 2 turns. He has the look of the winner. So
what happens when Messier gets DQ'd for drugs with Lucas then at Oaklawn?
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, Samich. But I just feel like what other trainer makes it? Because it's clear they don't want a new trainer. They just want a trainer on paper. Well, he fits it perfect. I think it's going to be him. That's my prediction.
I think it sounds like, first of all, I think it sounds amazing in a perfect fiction horse racing story. I think it's the greatest story. I just don't. Okay, I love D. Wayne, but you're telling me that I'm just trying to, when I try to vision these things, I have to actually think about what life would be like if this really happened.
Sure, go ahead with it. Yeah.
So D. Wayne Lucas wins his, I don't know what Derby number that would be for him, but he wins another. I'm talking. Canadian bred horses have won. I believe I checked with John the other day. I think this will be the third of all time, third Derby winner. So 150 years, 3 would be. Mm-hmm. So Lucas, a Canadian bred, and the Baffert, sort of Baffert, with all the shit going on with him. It just seems like that's way too many things for that to happen. I just don't. And also, do you think is there anything legally that Churchill could do to be like, no, we're not going to allow that to happen?
I don't think Churchill's going against Dwayne Lucas. That's the other situation.
Okay, and I don't know this to be sure. I mean, I know they're, they come from the same tree and they're friends and stuff, but does Lucas want to be a part of this circus?
Does he want that heat? Like that's,
Yes.
That's a big part of the question.
Yes, that's
Because
the other
everyone will hate him if this happens.
guys, he's not going to care, and that's the biggest part of it to me. He said we should flush the sample or the test down the toilet when this all happens.
I know.
And they know,
Which
when
is
the media
wild for
comes
like a
to him,
0% trainer to say that.
but they know he doesn't give a shit what people think of him. B, he will tell all the reporters to go to hell and have no trouble doing it. C, all he wants to do is win the Derby. I'm telling you, listen, whether the horse wins or not, maybe by the time we get to Kentucky, I'll have a different take, but I think that's the path they're going to take.
That's pretty. If there's any trainer in the country that you'd like point to, be like, who can we go to? Like, not gonna give a shit about the heat, and like, well, Dwayne's your guy because
he's not going to train the horse.
Well,
there's no training involved.
If they had trainer to win the Derby odds, I would love to know what Dwayne Lucas would be right now because you could get a number on him. Let me tell you.
That would be
nobody has given any prediction on this yet. I'll throw it out there. I'll be the first. Tell me something else that makes more sense.
It's crazy. I thought for sure we'd see Baffert horses in the Derby, and as each week dwindles by, it's just less and less likely. And now we have this situation where, like you said, the only way to do it is if ownership group switches at the last moment.
Yeah.
We're going to see if that happens. And then we're going to see how the response is from Churchill Downs. Because, man, if that happens, like, there's going to be uproar like nobody's business. Like, it's horse racing, they'll do it on a Tuesday because that's the only day you can do it if it's horse racing Twitter. Like, I hope the draw is on a Tuesday when they re-announce the owner because that's how it'll go down. But, man, it would be wild. Maybe
it's just me wanting the carnage of it as well, But, you think about it, though. It also gives you another month in case Baffert gets in somehow. And there's no rule that says a trainer has to have the horse for weeks before it's eligible. He just has to. A trainer has to enter the horse for the race.
Baffert, yeah.
So on Monday they come out and say, "Hey, Messier's shipping to the Kentucky or to the Arkansas Derby." And by the way, Dwayne Lucas, he's been transferred to the Dwayne Lucas barn.
Yeah. On Tuesday they'll come out and say that.
Dude, I was totally gonna say that line, JL. I was totally gonna say it, and then someone else started talking. But yeah, that's Halterman. Some people just like to see the world burn. That's you. You're Danhausen.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Well, yeah, that's right. I curse you. Paul is cursed. I tell you, it's gonna be some trainer. It could be a trainer out in California, but who is Baffert gonna just willingly say, "Yeah, let's do it"?
What's the actual wording of amount? No, I doubt you guys know exactly, but like, so I know that there's rules against like them, giving it to Barnes or something and saying go, putting his name on there. So what are like the specifics of changing the trainer? Because Churchill made sure to say that whenever they banned Baffert, like, he also can't have, Jimmy Barnes, for instance. So I don't know what's the limit of changing names there.
It can't be anybody that is employed with Bob Baffert. I know that. So it can't be Jimmy Barnes or any like some groom or whatever you want to do there. Other than that, it just says no trainer, that is currently banned from the Kentucky Derby can earn points on the Kentucky Derby trail.
Gotcha.
There is you can't change him on a Tuesday before a race on a Saturday and give it to trainer X. There is nothing against that.
You just have to then ban trainer X.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then trainer X would have to train them in the Derby, but they could go right back to Baffert for the Preakness. There is no rule on that. So
right now, somewhere,
and then
someone from Churchill is like calling up Dwayne and be like, dude,
don't you dare.
Don't do it.
So let's say Messier won the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
So if Messier won the Triple Crown, it'd be Dwayne Baffert Dwayne as the trainer.
I love it.
Yeah, some people like to watch the world burn. Yeah.
Hey, who has horses run pretty well up at Belmont, Pletcher. So you give him to Pletcher for the Belmont.
Give the people this is okay. Give the people the odds here real quick, you guys, on this.
Okay.
So I'll give you 3 scenarios, and you give me the odds on these 3 scenarios. One is he plain and simple just is not running these horses in the Derby, and all these horses of Baffert's, Messier, and Doppelganger, and Newgrange are all going to run in the Preakness. That's the odds 1. That's the first option. Odds 2 is he runs in the Derby somehow between now and then, as he runs the Derby under Bob Baffert. So something happens between now and then. And number 3 is Halterman's story. It's the D Wayne story. Give me the odds on all 3 of those so people have an idea of what you're actually thinking.
I think option 1 is the favorite, or option A, whatever you said.
Well, yeah, it's the favorite. It's a heavy favorite.
Yeah, I think that's the favorite. I think the D Wayne angle is now number 2. Because I just think we're getting late, and I think option 3 of him getting in, I think they're going to drag it out long enough, and I just don't think it's going to happen. So if you would have asked in January, I would have said option 3 is the favorite. But I think how you listed them are the 3 choices. Or no, I'm sorry, option 2 was the one with where he's going to get in. I don't think it's going to happen. So
yeah, I would say like option 1 is 1 to 5. Like
no, I don't think
heavy one like favorite, and the other 2 are 20 to 1 or more, right? Like here's the thing: the Derby, doesn't matter that much to these people. They care about breeding. They care about grade 1 victories, and guess what? Messier's going to get that. He's going to get a grade 1 victory somewhere. They need black type. They need breeding. They don't care if the horse won the Derby from a financial perspective. Look at other past Derby horses as sires. It doesn't wildly boost your fees, right? Like what's important is your talent, your numbers that you've run, where you've done it, at what distances, who's on your damn side, and whether or not you win a grade 1, right? And guess what? You don't need the Derby for that. And these guys, like the ownership groups that they're part of, they've already won a Triple Crown. Like, it'd be great to win another Derby, but you know what? That's not what they care about. They care about making money. That's why this horse is with Bob Baffert and not someone else.
Well, I definitely believe that it's not. There's zero at this point, especially. There's no way these guys are like, hey, let's give Messier to Pletcher. That just ain't happening. Like they're gonna stick with Baffert. This is the plan. So whatever happens, it's gonna be finagled within Baffert, his okay and everything, because they, like you said, like they're sticking by him, and that seems to be the case. And yeah, even if things were going perfectly for Baffert and his side, like there's just not enough time.
Yeah.
They're gonna draw and the closer we get, Churchill Downs, they keep fighting back. They're sticking their heels in the sand, and Naira's ready to do it. Like they're not backing down at all. These other sides, and Churchill Downs is like the one entity where they're not. It's not going to be anything short that before this thing gets settled. It might be this time next year before we know anything about Baffert running again.
Yep. I think it's a 3-way game of chicken between the owners, Churchill Downs, and Baffert right now. And I don't think any of them are gonna back down. And Samich, that's awful. Samich's point was great. 3 to 5 is what I would set on them not running. 3 to 5 because the coach is 6 to 5.
Can I bet on it?
No.
Come on. See these trash lines. You won't even let me bet like beer on it.
Well, I'm not legally sanctioned to do so.
You're correct. Would you like a friendly wager for?
Sure.
Okay, I'll take. I'll give you two 12 packs to my 1.
Okay. Now
I get he's not in the Derby at all. You get everything else.
Oh, okay.
Including under a different trainer.
Okay, I'll take that. Yep. 2 to 1. Got it. I like it because I win either way. I'm going to drink some of them either way. So.
I'm not letting you do it when they're around.
All right. I thought this would last 10 minutes and it's lasted 45, but I think people have enjoyed it. So hopefully people stayed. So that was good. That's it. Any final thoughts? I think we're good, right?
Hope Paul somehow, charge it. Nothing bad to charge it, but just like they decide they're going to run like this horse, like in sprints.
I'm kind of bummed because I felt like we were going to be 1-9 in the fantasy league if we won this shake. So it would have been nice. But you know what? I'm still happy with the team.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And I do wish bad things on Paul and not on Charge It. So we'll talk to you guys. Let's see. Probably, I don't know. We may have a shake. We may not. We may just start doing this now that we're getting close. We'll just do it whether we have a shake or not. I don't think people watching really care if there's a shake or not.
Yeah, that's the part they cared the least about.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, guys. We're going to get off here. I will play the right outro music for Magic. Tune in all week. We're going to have a ton of coverage on the Risen Star and everything in between for sure. It's a huge weekend of racing, but the Risen Star guide coming out later this week as well. So a lot going on, and good luck to everybody playing today. I know there's a huge, huge day of racing today, but we'll be back all through the. Is there a big? Go ahead, Mike. What are you going to say?
Pick 5 carryover at Turfway, where the camera can't see the finish line. 33,000 in the late pick 5.
Yeah, no. Go live Saturday. Yes, we will be live. We will be live for the late pick 4, I would say, at Risen or at Fairgrounds for the Risen Star. So yeah, we will be live for sure. Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you later.